Hello, friends, and welcome back to the archives. I don't know how to start off this episode per se, because this was brought to my attention earlier today, actually. And when Fenrir showed me and told me, I couldn't resist but to react to it. For you see, the channel Food Theory has decided to do a theory and a whole episode on my arch nemesis. Yes, the very creature that threw Fenrir into a void, stole my beard and mustache, destroyed my lunch, and ultimately nearly destroyed FVC. Yes, we're talking about the Noid. This little red rabbit-eared freak they are doing a theory on. So, you all know how much I love the little Noid here. So, yes, today we are doing a reacting video to Food Theory's Domino's Worst Nightmare is Back, the Noid. And I could not resist but to do a react video to this. So yes, we're going to get started. Here it is. I haven't watched any of this yet, and I have no words. Just play. Just play.
This is the Noid. He's
I know who it
one
is.
of the worst restaurant mascots in history.
Not
It's
really.
not every day that you can say that your pizza mascot prompted a full-on hostage crisis, and yet this middle-aged rabbit man, yep, he's done it. But if he is so bad, then
True
why
story.
did Domino's Pizza recently decide to bring him back from the dead? Spoiler alert, they did it to cover up a dirty little secret. So what are they hiding? That, my friends, is what I aim to answer today.
The Noid Files. Yes, actually it did prompt a hostage situation at a Domino's back in the, I believe it was the 90s that happened. That's why they discontinued the Noid altogether.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food
It's a true
Theory,
thing.
where we always deliver your theories piping hot. Today we're looking at one of the most well-known marketing campaigns of all time, Domino's 30 Minutes or Less. See, back at the end of the 1970s, Domino's started to lag behind the success of Pizza Hut. Back then, when, 96% of you weren't even born yet, pizza delivery was something that only a few local pizza restaurants did. No large chain was delivering their pizzas the way that we have them today. Pizza was mostly a takeout food, something that you could see here with Pizza Hut's first ever commercial, which shows a man driving his car through town only to create waves of chaos that ripple throughout the neighborhood. The early days of television advertising, ladies and gentlemen. I just have so many questions about this. Like, why is his car so tiny? And who thought that inciting a neighborhood riot by running over people's feet was a good way to shill for their pizza? In the end, I suppose it got me to think way too hard about this commercial, so really, who's the true winner here? Buzz to the Pizza Hut indeed. Buzz. Anyway, in an effort to one-up the Hut, one of the owners of rival pizzeria Domino's had the brilliant idea of differentiating themselves by delivering their pizzas. This was a godsend for families all over the country who were tired of having their toes run over by large dads in tiny red cars. But not only was it enough to deliver the pizza, Domino's then created the 30-minute or less guarantee. You'd have your pizza
I
in a
remember
half hour, or you
these.
get $50 off your order.
Before
By
the days of
1979,
DoorDash
they expanded it.
and
30
Uber
minutes
Eats.
or your pizza's free. Domino's
Grubhub.
figured that they were making most of their deliveries well within the window of time anyway, so giving a win-win guarantee to customers would only drive business up. And they were absolutely right about that. Sales skyrocketed. They went from opening their 200th location in 1978 to over 1,000 stores open and $1 billion in revenue just
Goddamn.
7 years later. Though they were still number 2 behind Pizza Hut, Domino's had solidly carved out its place. 54% of all pizza deliveries in the US were coming from a Domino's restaurant. The 30 minutes or less slogan was such a huge success that it set the industry standard for delivery times.
And I
It
actually
became
like
ingrained
Domino's
in
pizza.
pop culture.
You're 2 minutes late, dude. Ah, come on. I couldn't find a place.
There was just one teeny tiny
Funny story about that. So they had Domino's in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, but in the NES games, namely number 2, the arcade game for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they had Pizza Hut signs. Talk about conflict.
little problem with that. Meeting the 30-minute deadline was difficult for a lot of drivers. Not only were they
Yeah.
dealing with traffic delays and road conditions, they were also fighting against customers looking to game the system by turning off their lights to fool the delivery drivers into wasting time, all in an effort to get some free pizza. Basically, the whole thing created a system that encouraged reckless driving and irresponsibility. Stories of accidents and deaths started to permeate into the public eye. Lawsuits started to crop up over injuries and damages caused by errant drivers. In what simultaneously became one of the best marketing campaigns and worst backfires in restaurant history, Domino's left a trail of literal death and destruction in their wake. They needed to do something, and they needed to do something fast. And
Domino's,
born out
the
of this
dangerous
chaos,
pizza.
one creepy bunny man would emerge to save the day, to take the heat, to distract away from all the bad PR. And that man was the Noid, a mascot created to sweep everything under the rug, only to have it all blow up in their faces 10 times worse. Now, weird mascots, they're nothing new. I mean, we got a clown
Yeah.
shilling for a burger place, bug-eyed fuzzballs hawking sub sandwiches, and a disturbingly smooth man sexualizing floor bleach. But the Noid is not familiar. He's not cute. He is not oddly sexy. He is just flat out disturbing. He's a middle-aged imp in red spandex with bunny ears. Yet somehow, Domino's saw this guy and was like, yeah, this guy, this shall be the character that helps us sell our pizza. Basically, he was meant to embody everything that can possibly delay your delivery. The things that annoyed you about getting a pizza. And Domino's would then thwart him every time. Cold pizza, road problems, smashed boxes, it was all on account of the Noid.
Have you ever been frustrated because the Noid ruined your pizza? We avoid the Noid.
And defying all known logic, the Noid was actually a massive success. In fact, he was so successful that he spun off into everything from merch to video games.
And if you haven't already noticed, yes, we did play Yo Noid on this channel, and it was put out by Capcom, and it's actually a solid game. It was actually pretty damn fun. That fans made a sequel to it, once again, that we did play. I'm... God... For something so bizarre looking, for a mascot that literally was just a guy wearing a bunny suit. Obviously, you didn't see many games put out, that would have, fast food mascots that were actually successful, put out by big name companies. I mean, definitely like Capcom. I don't think that McDonald's Kids was put out by them. No, I think it was put out by a third party somewhere. And of course, you have the Burger King games that were put on Xbox 360. They were done by a whole different company as well, but none were actually as fun as Yo Noid. And actually put a lot of care into it. It was officially licensed by them. Come on.
Games. Yep, you heard me. Games, plural. The first game released in 1989, aptly named Avoid the Noid, where you play a pizza delivery driver that has to go up 30 floors to deliver a pizza to Doom Industries, all while an army of Noids try to stop you using everything from water balloons to bazookas. If you lose, you're greeted to the most obnoxious video game laugh
I gotta
ever.
find that game.
Stand aside, Final Fantasy X, there's a new king in town.
I gotta find that game now.
It was then followed up by a second and third game that had the Noid going around town to accost locals with his yo-yo and his terrible 3D platforming. Probably a whole episode
That
buried
wasn't
in
as
here
bad.
about branded food games. Yo Noid, you are no cool spot, my friend. In any case,
Hey,
people
I
seem to
played
forget
both.
about their hang-ups with Domino's delivery as the pizza company moved away from the 30 minutes or less and embraced their new slogan, Avoid the Noid. Basically, everything was going according to plan for Domino's. That is, until late 1989, when Kenneth
Yeah.
Noid, a man suffering from paranoid schizophrenia, entered an Atlanta Domino's with a gun and held 2 employees at gunpoint, claiming that the villainous mascot was created to mock him personally.
I was actually kind of surprised. I didn't know if they were going to go into the story, because it is pretty gruesome. He actually held up an entire Domino's in 1989 because he thought that Domino's was making fun of him, like they're saying right here. I have seen the story at least about 4 or 5 different times from different history sources. They did a whole documentary on the Domino's franchise from then to now, what happened to the Noid and so on and so forth. And yeah, this is really bizarre. I mean, as popular as the Noid was, this one incident is what tanked him in advertising, because Domino's did not want anything to do with this situation. So they swept, the incident and the Noid under the rug and out of existence. We hadn't seen the Noid since that point, from 1989 upward till about, I think it was like 20 years later we saw him. And recently, about 2 years back, they brought him back for a small stint in the commercials.
Eventually, the hostages escaped and Kenneth was apprehended. In the end, he was deemed unfit to stand trial due to reasons of insanity. Needless to say, the bad press from the incident resulted in Domino's scaling back their marketing of the Noid. And
Yeah.
almost like clockwork, the following year they started to feel the heat again with 2 high-profile delivery driver crashes. They continued with the same slogan until 1993, but after 2 lawsuits resulted in $79 million being paid out in damages, they officially ended the 30-minute or less guarantee. And what happened to the Noid, you ask? Well, 2 years later in 1995, the company shelved the character permanently when news started to spread that Kenneth Lamar Noid had taken his own life. It seemed like the Noid was fated to live on as just a weird oddity of pop culture and food history.
Look, it's a Noid. Avoid the Noid. He ruins pizzas.
Perhaps it was the Noid who should have avoided me.
Except, now he's back. More than 35 years after his introduction, the Noid has returned and is now starring
That
in
commercial
commercials
right
again.
there.
Why now? Is it nothing more than a nostalgia trip, or is there a more nefarious reason behind that extremely disturbing face? I suspect that it's all a cover-up. The Noid's reappearance was timed to coincide with a marketing campaign advertising Domino's driverless cars. This time around, he's sporting a giant blow-up version of himself to block intersections and, just casually, a laser chainsaw. But notice what I just said a second ago. Domino's is experimenting with driverless cars. It's largely new and unproven technology. In short, I suspect that they're bringing out the Noid preparing to explain away the flaws and accidents that they foresee in this driverless fleet, just like they did all those years ago to distract away from the car accidents that their delivery cars were getting into. This actually coincides with behavior that we've seen in the past from the company. You see, in 2008, Domino's stock price was at an all-time low. By this point in history, the public perception of Domino's pizza was in the tank, and Domino's made the incredibly risky decision of doing ads that were focused on exactly that, the fact that they sucked.
Doesn't feel like there's much love in Domino's pizza.
Domino's pizza crust to me is like cardboard.
Worst excuse for pizza I've ever had.
The sauce tastes like ketchup.
Totally void of flavor. This we hear over and over and over.
This began what was known as their turnaround campaign, where the company went back to the drawing board and basically started from scratch. New recipes, new flavors, new technology, all in an effort to win back the trust of customers. And one of their key changes to the process was an online order tracker as part of their push for order transparency. It allowed customers to know where their pizza was at each and every stage of the process. And sure enough, who was there to coincide with that launch? The Noid. In 2009, the Noid started to make a limited run appearance around the edges of this big pizza turnaround campaign, mostly in the form of t-shirts. I suspect that this was Domino's getting ready to unleash the Noid once again if things started to go south. Luckily for them, the pizza turnaround was a massive success and the Noid didn't need any further exposure. But he does seem to be their repeated failsafe, the guy that gets rolled out anytime there's a big corporate shakeup or any chance of upsetting customers. Because we see it all happening again in 2017, when there were small subtle hints that the Noid might be circulating once more. This time he started appearing as an Easter egg in the background of certain commercials.
Earn points when you order.
If you blinked, you probably missed him. Watch again.
I have that. It's out in the archives, actually. It's on one of the shelves. If you look closely during one of the intros, you'll see the Noid there.
There he is. But why? Why is he just making this random appearance? Just to get people talking about the clip online? Maybe. But this commercial was actually part of a larger campaign where Domino's started experimenting with autonomous pizza delivery. In short, when a new campaign with potentially disastrous results launches, the Noid is sure to follow, waiting in the wings to take the blame and the PR attention away from whatever the real issue is. This also would be far from the first time a company has used humor as a form of crisis management. Back in 2018, KFC was being slammed with horrible press over chicken shortages that were causing a majority of their restaurants to close. It was so bad that people were actually calling the police to report these closures because of how ticked off they were they couldn't get their chicken. Some even did the unthinkable and went to Burger King.
I've had to go to Burger King.
Anyway, in the midst of this firestorm, KFC pulled out the FCK bucket, a simple and honestly very clever one-page ad that got so much love on the internet that people completely forgot their anger. Seems this tactic is the same one.
You know what? I'm still waiting for the KF console. Yeah, they were supposed to make a KFC bucket. It was a warmer and a game console for your chicken. I was still waiting on that damn thing. I haven't seen it since. And this is about a year or two ago that it came out. Or supposedly was coming out. So essentially, the Noid is Domino's failsafe for when the shit goes wrong and they need a distraction. Sounds about right. Blame the Noid. I sure do. But then again, on my channel, he's done nothing but screw with my games, and my reviews, and my mustache. I'm still salty about that one. Let's continue.
one that Domino's is using with the Noid, which honestly says more about us as consumers than them as businesses. Don't be distracted by the funny bunny man. Have some standards here, people. Anyway, if this is indeed the tactic that they're using with the Noid, seems like they might be on the right track for using it. The self-driving car campaign they're doing has already caused issues.
That's horrifying.
One woman was left chasing down her driverless vehicle in flip-flops because it wasn't programmed to double park in her driveway. The cars have also been struggling with places like apartment buildings when customers don't come out in time. Much like they did in 2009 and again in 2017, perhaps this soft relaunch of the Noid was in anticipation of the problems that are going to arise if the press stories start to catch fire. For now, Domino's has put a brief pause on expanding their self-driving experiment to the rest of the nation outside of Houston, and correspondingly, the Noid left again with what seems to be his farewell tweet saying, "See you later, pizza haters." But just know that the next time you see the Noid rearing his ugly little red rabbit ears, what lurks underneath is a corporate decision that Domino's fears is going to give him some severe backlash. In the end, his wacky antics are just meant to distract us away from the dark underbelly of Domino's delivery. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit.
Okay. That was actually pretty good. I mean, you know, when I first saw this, I had no idea what to expect out of this episode. I don't do a whole lot of reacting videos. This was kind of funny. I mean, really, it was informative, it was funny. I knew a lot of lore behind it. I did not realize they brought out the Noid because of car accidents. I was not aware of the drivers, well, getting competitive with that 30 minutes or less. I mean, it's understandable, definitely, but I didn't think they would go as far as to, like, crash into each other, buildings, or people. And they use the Noid as a scapegoat to get your mind off of that, to avoid looking at the press of, you know, car accidents. That's kind of genius. So basically, if you see the Noid, you know Domino's ain't doing too hot. I mean, there was at one point where they brought the Noid back for an anniversary thing. You know, they had actually an arcade online for Domino's.com. I didn't get a chance to play it before they completely took it off, but once again, if things go wrong with Domino's, expect to see the Noid around because the Noid did it, and Domino's couldn't avoid it. Oh, yeah, I've had love for the. I mean, the Noid is a weird thing. With my generation, most people do not know or understand what the hell the Noid is. My girl's a year older than I am, and she barely remembers what the Noid was. You know? I have colleagues and friends of mine who go, "What the hell's a Noid?" And it's like, this. And they still go, "What the hell is that?" It's a Noid. You know, I guess I was so surprised when, you know, Simpsons and Family Guy made a reference to the Noid, and people are going, "Huh, the hell?" Yeah, Domino's. You know, when I did the playthrough on this channel for both the Noid games, I was surprised personally on how many people actually were watching. That video has a high number of, you know, views for my channels. You know, high for me. And people were still like, "Oh my god, they know what the Noid is." It was the NES game too. But oh, that was good. Like I said, I knew some of it, not all of it. Good job for the research. I mean, definitely kudos. I mean, they definitely looked into this. I mean, it's not really much of a theory; it's more of a fact, actually. I mean, the theory part is, you know, will they use the Noid again to cover up something else that went wrong with either the delivery system or marketing campaign went awry? So they bring the Noid back for a little bit of nostalgia and for somebody else to blame. You know, it was kind of sad when they first shelved him back in 1995. I was a little off on the years, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1989 to 1995, when that whole hostage situation went down, I can see why they shelved the Noid. Because at that point, he was still at his peak of his popularity. He was an incredibly popular mascot. For as horrifying as he is, he was popular. And for him to just, you know, completely disappear, and then now they're just bringing him back randomly when, you know, shit goes wrong or when their stocks dip, you know, I'm still mad at Domino's. I live less than a mile away from them. They will not deliver my house. I'm pissed. They're less than a mile from my house, they will not deliver here because I'm apparently out of their range. I can't even DoorDash it. Or Uber Eats. By the way, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I'm just saying nobody will deliver Domino's. I have to go out to get it, which is complete bullshit. Still mad at you, Domino's. But anyways, that's all I have for you today. I just wanted to throw this out here. Like I said, it had Noid in it. And if you've been on my channel long enough, you know my history with the Noid. You know FVC's history with the Noid. You know Fenrir Rock's history with the Noid by now. He's still mad at him for throwing him in the void. But that's all I have for you today. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I have 2 channels now. I have this one, the Archives channel, and my second channel where all my gameplay is going to, all my playthroughs are going to, is the Curious Gaming Dungeon. You'll see that in the end card. I'll throw a card up here somewhere maybe. Possibly. So for odd videos like the reacting videos like this one right here, they'll be on the Archives. Gameplay, Dungeon. So with that being said, friends, hope you enjoyed the episode. This was just an off-the-cuff, reaction. I wasn't expecting this. I mean, seriously. I mean, damn. They made a theory on the Noid. My arch nemesis. But with that being said, thank you all for watching. Until next time, I've been your humble curator. And until next time, signing off. They did a video on the Noid.